You don't get that everywhere you go with the young guys, man. So everybody's keying in and buying in, and I'm so excited about it. Obviously, we got coaches that played in the league, so man, everybody want to know what it takes to win. And as you can see, we're 11-1 today.
What are your Thanksgiving plans after this?
Thanksgiving plans? Actually, go back to the house. My dog got sick. Yeah, Riley, he had a kidney stone, so we had surgery 2 days ago with him. So go back. I got my oldest son here from Dallas. So I got the other 2 kids. So I got all 3 of my kids. We go, plus the dogs. Yeah. We're going to go eat and have a good time, watch a couple movies. You know what I'm saying? Just spend some time with them because I got them for 2 days. So these going to be the best 2 days of the week right here. After the win, more.
Did you see an open pass on your second sack to Caleb? Just how big do your eyes get in a moment like that?
Man, you know what? At the beginning, I missed him twice. I don't know if y'all saw that one or not. I missed him. And then when I told myself, I said, man, I get another opportunity. I'm not going to miss him this time. So I was able to come up with how many? 1.5, man, it's still, hey, that's something. I was still able to come back and make those tackles. So I learned from my mistakes early from that game. So I'm just excited, happy, just ready to get to the family, man.
Your thoughts on Caleb after the 9 numbers?
He's a good quarterback, man. Still young, man, but yeah, his future is bright. I can tell you that, man. He's elusive, scramble, man. Under pressure, man, he know how to get out of the pocket, man. Reads defense well, man. I'm just excited for him to see what he's gonna bring. Yeah, but also get the L's in the playoffs. Yeah, for sure.
Find out how much energy those guys, the ball carriers, really, I guess, use when they have the ball in their hands. After that play, I was really exhausted. So I think the ball won't touch my hands for a while.
They blamed me for a sack on that one. That's what you think, but the crowd, I mean, they loved it. You know, they gave you appreciation for the yards you did pick up. Just to hear that roar of appreciation. What it means.
Well, honestly, that whole play was quiet. I didn't hear a thing out there, to be honest. It was weird. So it was definitely an experience that I wish I could have again. So.
When it comes to Ben Johnson's play calling and just being a part of it in that way, there's a lot of hype online for what he does and how he maneuvers this offense. But to be a part of the fun, and yeah, it's a cool opportunity and you want to do it again, but in the grand scheme of things, to be like, no, they see me as a tool that is multifaceted. What does that mean to you?
Man, it means a lot because it's just a lot of respect is shown, So I just try to do my job to the best of my abilities, and I just go out there and try to put it on for the guy next to me. So.
Do you think?
Yo, the lies told that you never make it. Hopeless, so it seems. Eyes closed, hands open wide to embrace your dreams. Sometimes you gotta take a loss just to get the win. Like lots of sin was popping in like oxygen when boxes wet. Focus on the mental, never lose like a smooth instrumental. Better choose on the move in a pinto. Choose what I get to, never lose smooth on the move, but it's simple. Never give up and we winning it, maybe. We just keep winning, we conquering daily. Envision that pay me, it's never the sway me. Indigenous, maybe we winning this crazy. Your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, it's your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, it's your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, it's your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity.
Yeah. Welcome one, welcome all, ladies and gentlemen. It is the Lion Villain Report, and I am your host, Russell Wayne, and I am going to be spending the next hour with you right here. It's Saturday, right off of the Lions' Thanksgiving victory right there, and we're going to call this PFF Saturday, and we're going to have this PFF Saturday happening 2 weeks in a row right here. We're broadcasting live into the Lions Villain Squad Facebook page. We are approaching 60,000 villains right here, and we appreciate anybody that follows the page, likes the page, shares the page, comments, and joins the conversation. We're the UDFA of sports podcasting right here. We're also broadcasting live into Joe Chapp's X, along with the Detroit Lions News podcast and the JC Sports Network on YouTube. And the Villain Squad is also on YouTube at Lions Villain Squad. We appreciate anybody that likes, follows, and subscribes to this content. This show is brought to you by Full Circle Realty, agent Dana Robinson. So if you are buying or selling a home anywhere in the state of Michigan, call Dana today. If you want someone who works for you, if you want someone who will never give up, Dana Robinson should be your realtor. Call Dana today at Full Circle Realty, 810-422-3328. That's 810-422-3328. She can't wait to get working for you. It's faith, family, and then football. In that order, we use football to create memories and spend time with our family. We don't let football use us. And here we are. It is Saturday, and we're here for PFF Saturday. I usually do it a couple days afterwards. And this was a weird game, right? Let's get into the comments here before I go off on a tangent right here. Good morning to you, Davey. Good morning to Maurice. Good morning to the Packer fan. Jay Smooth is up in the house. Good morning to Scotty Reno up in the house. And the Central Scrutinizer echoing the faith, family, and then football in that order. Got a Michigan game today. Michigan versus the dreaded Ohio State Buckeyes. And Mike and I do the same bet every year. We're betting for humiliation, and I have had to wear that Wolverines gear a couple years in a row right here. Not feeling too happy about that. My Buckeye fanness, and I will be rooting for the Buckeyes today, but I know that most of you will be rooting for the Michigan Wolverines, and we'll have to see how this works out. It looks like Michigan's playing a little bit better in that way. But this is PFF Tuesday, and I don't want to waste any time getting into PFF Tuesday. So let's share these Detroit Lions offensive grades right here and see if we can find anything that we expected from what we saw. So one of the things about PFF to me that I want to put this caveat, I want to put this disclaimer on here, is that PFF is not the end all be all. PFF doesn't tell the entire story, which is one of the reasons I want to do it at least 24 full hours after the game is over, because I want to digest what I saw with my eyes first. And then I look for the PFF scores to try to back up what I saw with my eyes. And in most cases, it's pretty close, and it does that. So PFF is not going to be the end all be all. I'm not going to look at the guys on the top of this list and say that they're going to be all time players. And I'm not going to look at the guys at the bottom of this list and say that they're the worst players ever and we should get rid of them. So that's not where we're at, but let's do it. I go left to right here. You got over here, if you can see my little icon, you got your position, obviously. This is your total snaps. This is your pass blocking snaps. This is your run blocking snaps. This is your run snaps, your run blocking snaps. Offensive grade, your grade in the pass, your grade in the pass block, your grade in the run, your grade in the run block. Pretty simple going right there. So offensive grades right here, our top guys right here, Kevin Zeitler with another good game. And I saw that in the game. I saw Penei Sewell have a dominant game, and I saw Frank Ragnow have a dominant game. So those top three scores do not surprise me. And then there's Jared Goff having himself a really good game. David Montgomery with a really good game. Amon-Ra St. Brown with a really good game. Tim Patrick with a good game. And then we're into above average as we move down the line. And then the bottom graded guys, Graham Glasgow. And 50.7 isn't like horrible. Like 31.1 in passing in the pass game for Jahmyr Gibbs is not good, but that's not a important stat for him. But it reflects right there. The offensive line on the right side, you feel really good about that, don't you? When you're looking at that right side, you go on Frank Ragnow, Kevin Zeitler, and Penei Sewell. You run right off that right side, and look at these run blocking grades right there, right off of that run side, that right side. Center, right guard, right tackle are the top 3 graded run blockers, and that's backed up. You know, you're able to run on that side with regularity, and you can count on it. You can count that Ragnow is going to open up that hole, and Zeitler is going to open up that hole, and Penei Sewell is Penei Sewell. He's a road grader. That's what he does. Bottom grades on run blocking, Dan Skipper, Graham Glasgow. So there you go. You don't want to run on that left side. That's probably where they got most of their stops. And when you look at the game, that's what you saw. You saw when we got stuffed. They got stuffed trying to run on that left side where Dan Skipper and Graham Glasgow was. Pass blocking, Kevin Zeitler, Frank Ragnow, and Jamarco Jones coming in. He only had 3 snaps, so I don't want to get too crazy about that. But Jamarco Jones is one of those practice squad guys. Next man up. Next man up. And that's what they're doing right there. Jahmyr Gibbs with a good game pass blocking. You know, as the last line of defense, you'd like to see that. Penei Sewell, I mean, he's a beast. Sam Laporta with a good pass blocking game, along with the 2 tight ends. The 2 tutties for the tight end. It was good to see Sam Laporta get back into the game with his 2 touchdown catches. And then right here, he's backing it up in the pass blocking game too, as well as a decent overall game. And in the passing game, David Montgomery, God, he was awesome. Awesome. That's reflects right there. 92.1 overall passing grade for David Montgomery. Those screen passes, he was awesome on. He was awesome. So that's probably why it was. And it obviously 79.1 for Jared Goff. Jared Goff. So it's good to see that on the offensive side of the ball. Tell me what you think of these offensive grades right there. Is there anything that you want to see offensively? Do you want to see some of the Bears grades right here? How did they do? Right there. Offensive grades right here. They were about 7 deep and decent players. Good play out of their right guard and right tackle. Decent play out of their center. So their right side, their best players, according to PFF, were their offensive linemen. Caleb did okay in there. And that reflects in there. Pass blocking, they actually had decent pass blocking. Run blocking, they couldn't run the ball. But let's see what you got in here. You got anything in here? Lance says the Bears snuck up on all the NFC North teams. We need to dominate them next time. This is a division game, though, Lance. It's funny because there's this rumor out there that any teams suck in the NFL, and no teams suck in the NFL. There's a whole bunch of good teams, and then there's teams that are great, and then there's teams that are elite. But all the teams are good. All those guys can play football. So, I mean, when it comes to NFC North, rivalry games. Bears got defense. So that I don't know. I don't know if they snuck up on anybody. They didn't sneak up on me. I thought the game could be close. Even though I took the Lions and the points, it's like even 10 points isn't that big of a deal anymore. I mean, that game was one turnover away from being 10 points. What's up, Nick? It's good to see you in here. That's awesome. We're going through PFF Tuesday. This is PFF Tuesday, but we're doing it on Saturday because our game was on Thursday. Oh, it's very confusing. But that's okay. We don't have to be that confused. A couple days later, we want to do these PFF grades. I don't want to wait all the way until Tuesday to do PFF Tuesday. I don't know what we're going to do on Tuesday for these next couple weeks. But, you know, we got another game on Thursday, 2 Thursday games in a row. And we went through the offensive PFF. Let's go through these defensive PFF. I'm sure people are dying to see what the Tuesday PFF. And look at Josh Pascal, man. What a damn shame that he got injured in that game. I hope that he gets a chance to come back. I hope Pascal gets a chance to come back because he's having himself a great third year. He's having his best year as a Detroit Lion. And then he had an injury. And then he went out with an injury. I don't know how serious or not serious that injury is. But when I'm looking at him at the top of this list at 86.0, I mean, I know it's only 7 snaps, but that was the injury. I mean, he was playing good. He's been playing good. And then you got Zadarius Smith at a 77.5. Muhammad coming in, 43 snaps. 43 snaps, 73.2, having a good game. Very good game. In that. And getting a good coverage grade. We're getting hit in the back of the head with a football. Jack Campbell with another good game. He's sneaking up. I think he's quietly in the Pro Bowl conversation. Jack Campbell is. Because he's one of the best linebackers in the entire NFL, according to PFF. Khalil Dorsey with 32 snaps, 27 of them in coverage, and he grades out at a 65.4. Not bad for a practice squad guy. Another Ezekiel Turner coming in, weak side linebacker, 22 snaps. Had a good tackling game. Let's look at these run defenders. Here we're isolating. So this is total defense. Now we're going to isolate it by run defense right there. Jack Campbell. Look at that. That's what you want. You want run defenders, baby. Look at that. 74.4 for Jack Campbell. 70.9 for Josh Pascal. And look at these secondary guys sneaking in there. 70.8, 69.6. Zadarius Smith. That's why you were brought here, Zadarius. That man can set an edge. And Kirby Joseph, solid in the run. Kendall Vildor, solid in the run. Terrion Arnold. You like seeing those cornerbacks sneaking up in there, having decent games. Now, down on the bottom, Mekhi Wingo, rookie, having rookie struggles out there. Still a good tackler, though. Even Mekhi Wingo. Where's the bright spot, Mekhi Wingo? You're looking at this 67.4 grade on tackling. He can tackle. Pass rush is starting to work its way up. Looks like he wasn't very good against the run. Maybe he got beat on a couple of these run plays. Malcolm Rodriguez, not his best game, but again, tackling. Let's isolate this by tackling. Look at our tackling. This is something that separates the Lions from the rest of the league right here. And there's no doubt about it. Tackling, look at that. Kirby Joseph, 82.1. Malcolm Rodriguez, 80.8. Khalil Dorsey, 78.9. DJ Reader, Terrion Arnold, Ben Neiman, Ezekiel Turner, Josh Pascal, Muhammad, Wingo. Branch missed a tackle. That's why his dropped in there. But still, that's 12 guys. It's like if we don't do anything right, we tackle. Right? I mean, that's the fundamentals of football is tackling. And that's what we do is we tackle well. What's going on, Chad? Good to see you in here. Welcome to the Saturday edition. It's a special PFF Saturday. We usually do them on Tuesdays, but then again, the games are usually on Sundays. Kevin's in the house. If you take away the fumble from Gibbs and that stupid penalty from JMO, that's at least 2 scores, whether they're touchdowns or field goals. So add that to the final score too. I can't do that, Kevin. Because the thing is Chicago deserves credit for forcing that fumble. I mean, we can't give ourselves credit for a score when we didn't get there. Got to protect the football. Now, that was a really nice. The thing is I give more credit to the defender. You know, putting his shoulder pad right on Jahmyr Gibbs' elbow. I don't know if anybody could have held on to the ball just from the angle. But the Chicago defender deserves credit for forcing that fumble. So I'm good with 23-20. Yeah, and when it comes to JMO making stupid mistakes, you got to not make stupid mistakes. He made the stupid mistakes. He deserves to be penalized for the stupid mistakes, right? Do you agree with me? Y for yes, N for no. You got to pay for your dumb mistakes. But, I mean, I get where you're coming from, though, Kevin. I do like that comment because what you're trying to say is we can only beat ourselves. Good morning, Elise. Good morning to the villains. You can find some of Elise's great stuff on our Facebook page. I feel like Paul Jones had a good one. And I ended up sharing it from my my group, the main event group. I gotta find it in here. I'm looking for it. But it was great. It was great. I know I shared it up here. There you go. There it is. There it is. Matt Eberflus right there. Paul Jones putting it in there. Look at that. Got a game ball. Got a game ball for Matt Eberflus. That's my employee of the month son right there running in the background. He's about ready to go out and shovel some snow. Probably doing more salting. It's not that bad of snow yet. We don't live in Green Bay. I'm glad that we got that Lambeau game out of the way. But Matt Eberflus fired today. Here's it. I love this. I love this. The first running back combo in history to each produce 1,500 scrimmage yards and 15 scrimmage touchdowns. That's crazy. Like, we get to witness history when it comes down to this. And then there's Elise. Dan abides. The Dan abides. You can call him El Danarino, or if you're into that whole brevity thing. Oh, it's a classic, Elise. That's a freaking classic. This was something I was bringing up yesterday. And all this stuff is right on our page. Right there. And we are slowly approaching 60,000 villains right here. And there's Paul Jones. Fluke's got a game ball and a turkey leg. He deserved it. He deserved it for that awful clock management. But the thing is that's why I have this one right here. And I'm gonna blow it up a little bit bigger. I made these points yesterday, but I would love to give Eberflus all the credit for the downfall right here. But the thing is you got to give the Lions credit where credit is due right here. You got to set this table. And Dan Campbell talks about this all the time when he says situational football. It's situational football. You gotta play with the road that's ahead of you. You can't go back to quarter 3 and say, oh my God, we should have did this or we should have did that. No, you can't do that. Big time players make big plays in the biggest moments. And coming off of the heels of an awful pass interference call that should have ended the game on Kendall Vildor, coming off of the heels of that, you're going to show poise. They're getting such a pass rush, they force a penalty. Aleem McNeil was owned in the middle of that defensive line as well as DJ Reader. And he forced an illegal hands to the face penalty where he pulled his helmet all the way off. And that backed them up 15 yards. And on the very next play, Zadarius Smith gets a sack and knocks him out of field goal range. Now, before we give all of the blame to Matt Eberflus, and just, before we do that, before we give all the blame to Matt Eberflus, we got to give credit where credit is due. The Lions showed incredible poise. They're showing that clutch gene during critical moments, high intense moments. And I am a believer that the entire game in the NFL comes down to, 3 or 4 plays that are like this, like these high intense moments. Right there on that play where Zadarius Smith sacks Caleb Williams. Instead of people saying the Bears lost the game instead of the Lions winning the game, that's bullshit. Right here's the play that won the game. Now, you can blame them at the end for mismanaging that end. And that's fair, but this play is what caused the confusion. You got to give credit where the credit is due. Just like that comment earlier that was talking about, Kevin's comment. If you take the fumble away from Gibbs, it's like we can't. You know why? Because Chicago deserves credit for making a big play and because if the Lions would have scored that touchdown, Kevin, the game was over. I mean, you're up 24-6, you're coming out and I mean, I don't have as much confidence right there, but that was a momentum switching play that kept Chicago kind of hanging around like a stinky fart.
You've had enough of that shit.
And they deserve credit for that play. right? But we deserve credit. Zadarius Smith deserves credit, more credit for ending that game than Matt Eberflus. I mean, you were a 58-yard field goal. You know, if he would have clocked it, they would have had a chance to kick a really, really long field goal. I get all that. But big-time players make big plays in the biggest moments. This one caught them completely off guard. They were sitting back there. You know, and some of that's got to be put on Caleb Williams. I know you're a rookie, but you can look up. You've been in a game before at the end. You can look up at the clock. You can make a decision. You certainly got to get a playoff in less than 30 seconds. But the Bears were the Bears. The Bears did Bear stuff. We used to say that about the Lions. Oh, Lions doing lion stuff again. And now it's not that way anymore. Getting back into the comments here. I like there. Yeah, thank you for agreeing with me, Kevin. Thank you. Good morning to all the Packer fans in here. It's probably you. I think that you got I think there's somebody. Jay Smooth is in here too. Central Scrutinizer says our defense was depleted by injuries, and we certainly didn't get any help from the Zebras. You want to talk about the Zebras? My rule is I'm not allowed to talk about the Zebras unless we win. So we won. So we can talk about the Zebras. Now, the Zebras did some bad shit to the Bears too. Like that whole Vildor call, I feel like it was a makeup call because they called a bad offensive pass interference on them earlier. They called 2 offensive pass interferences in the game on the Chicago Bears. One of them that I think was a good call, and the other one was awful. They gave us one. And I think that awful Vildor call. I mean, the ball wasn't even close to him. It wasn't like they were both going down on the field. And one thing is Keenan Allen gets away with pushing off on literally like every time he creates separation. So the Zebras were bad, but they were bad all the way around. They were bad for Chicago. Chicago got screwed on a couple calls. The Lions got screwed on a couple calls. That game should have been over. You don't make that call. There's hand fighting on every single play. And that wasn't egregious enough for you to stick your freaking nose in there where it didn't belong. And you wouldn't have had any of this going on. It would have been game over. We'd have taken some knees, and it wouldn't have been anything. That's the way it should have ended. But you threw some extra drama in there at the end. You get madder, Eberflus fired. I don't like that for, just for the human aspect. I don't like it when anybody loses their job. But the Lions are punking teams so bad that they're getting head coaches sent out the door. It's like, that was a beatdown. You're fired. So that's Jacksonville. That's Eberflus. Was there another one? Did we get another coach fired? That's awesome. That was awesome. Oh, man. Did you like that? You like that? Caleb showing his immaturity. Caleb has to take part of the blame. Why didn't he signal a timeout? Honestly, maybe he didn't want to overstep his bounds, but that's just it. Eberflus finally fired. It's a great day for Bear fans. You know, that's the first time in NFL history, in the history of the Bears in the 100 years, that they fired somebody mid-season. So this is a big deal. This is a big deal. I mean, I think part of it is the accountability thing. You know, I mean, the accountability is, it's like you get up there and own it. I mean, what do you think about that? What do you think if Eberflus would have went up there and owned it and said, "Look, I dropped the ball, man. Got really confusing in there at end. We miscommunicated. It's on me." If he would have taken accountability, do you think he would still be the Bears coach? And while you're chomping on that, Y for yes, N for no. This is PFF Saturday. Yes, it's a special edition. PFF Saturday. Brought to you by Full Circle Realty. Agent Dana Robinson. If you are buying or selling a home anywhere in the state of Michigan, call Dana today. If you want someone who works for you, if you want someone who will never give up, Dana Robinson should be your realtor. Call Dana today at Full Circle Realty, 810-422-3328. That's 810-422-3328. She can't wait to get working for you. So let's see what you guys think about this. But we don't have to have an opinion. Good morning to you, Henry Gray. Fans helped with that win too. I believe that. That's fair. Z play was huge. That was the biggest play of the game. I agree, Russ, that Smith sack was it. That was it. That's what created the confusion. And the thing is, everybody's been caught deer in headlights before. That just happened, kind of, oh, wow. We didn't expect that we didn't even process that. And the confusion was created by Zadarius Smith sack. Everything after that, whether you get another playoff, even if he threw the ball right into the ground, you at least give Santos a chance to make a 58-yard field goal. I get that. But the thing is the bottom line is the confusion was created by the big play that Zadarius Smith made. And the thing is we try to downgrade victories all the time, and Dan Campbell talked about it. It's like you have to be careful not to overanalyze wins. You can only play the play that is in front of you. Even if you didn't like the one that just happened or, 10 plays ago, you got to be ready for that type of stuff. Central scrutinizer, the D-line played great. All of these injuries got Brad working hard for Detroit. John Allen, the officials kept the game going on that 4th and 14. They were officiating in the NFL is historically bad. I agree with that. I do agree with that. But it was bad in their way too. Has anyone asked if we can get Matthew Betts back here? I don't think so. I like the guys that we're going out and getting. I mean, the Detroit Lions and Brad Holmes go out and they nab up a couple of these guys that are out there and not even in free agency, right off of like a practice squad. So to your Matthew Betts comment, I'm gonna use that as a pivot. I'm gonna come back to you, Jennifer. Thank you for the comment. Muhammad was held and he still got the sack. Yeah, he sure did get held on that. I know exactly which one you're talking about on that one.
You've had enough of that shit.
The bad guy, Bears fans, here. Yeah, eat all that talk about we drafted a quarterback, we are winning the Super Bowl and rubbing the 85 champ in our face every year. Welcome to suck. 5 to 8 straight years payback. Oh gosh. The Chicago fans have been wanting him gone. Absolutely. No, because the Bears had a coaching problem. I'm not. Oh, okay. And public opinion, and at the time, Eberflus's demise right there. Okay, that's true because most quarterbacks would have taken that time out. Combined with his previous blunders got him fired. Yes. Surprisingly, I don't think that the Bears had any false starts. And that was another one that I saw a couple of them too. If you watch one of those end plays too, the definitely was a false start on one of them that just didn't get called, and a couple of delay of games that they just let them go on. Bear fans. Okay, I already got that. I already put that one in there. But the thing is this game was won by the Lions at the end. You know, like I said, the big time player, that the last sequence of plays, you know, regardless of whether they got confused or not, so they would have had another play. Maybe get a little bit closer, but they would have had to take that time out, and we would have been able to defend the sidelines. And I don't know. The game ended the way that it ended. And I believe that Zadarius Smith and DJ Reader in that defensive line, they did their job. They did their job, and I really, really liked watching the end of that game in retrospect. Definitely So the Lions go out and they sign Quan Alexander right off of the practice squad for the Denver Broncos. And this is an interesting signing to me because this seems like another one of these Brad Holmes gem things. I mean, maybe I'm just a homer for every move right there. But Quan Alexander comes from the New Orleans Saints. And Quan Alexander was playing at a Pro Bowl level in New Orleans when Aaron Glenn was there. Now, schematically, I know that he's going to come fit right in. And this is a little bit of poaching right here. That's okay. Alexander will be on his 7th team in 10 NFL seasons. And he is now on the Detroit Lions active roster. After poaching him from the Denver Bronco practice squad. Alexander has Pro Bowl pedigree, having earned the honor in 2017 in his 3rd NFL season. So what are the Lions getting in linebacker Quan Alexander? The Lions are getting a player that is probably have more left in the tank than we realize. When Alexander showed up in Pittsburgh last summer, with the expectations were low, but it took him no time at all before everyone fell in love with the physical style to play. He's a speedy linebacker, but if you underestimate his run stuffing ability, he's got a lot of punch to his game. Does that sound like a Dan Campbell kind of guy? That sounds like a Dan Campbell kind of guy. So what you're telling me is that Brad Holmes went out and found a guy that people keep on kicking to the curb, and he keeps on overachieving. Is that what you're telling me? So he went to the practice squad of the Denver Broncos, and he's sitting right there. And he just came from a Denver Broncos team, or a Pittsburgh team, where he overachieved. That was the message that I got right there. How will he handle the pass rush and pass coverage duties? His speed still makes him a reliable pass coverage option. He's always been known for his athleticism, and it showed last season. He split pass coverage duties with Cole Holcomb, and there wasn't a drop-off when he was on the field. It's hard to know what an Achilles injury is going to do to his game, but if he's still the same player he was last year, he is a reliable passing down linebacker. So I dig that. So that's Quan Alexander. So that's one of the guys that they got. And I think that they got somebody else too. Let me see. That's right. Lord, I was born a rambling fan. All right. There we go. The Rams lose this active practice squad player to the Detroit Lions. All right, let's go. So the Lions are signing defensive lineman Jonah Williams off the Rams practice squad. So more reinforcements after the injuries mounted on Thursday. Right there. So who we getting there? Let's see. While the fans may not think twice about the loss of defensive lineman Jonah Williams, the LA Rams will certainly notice his absence. The Rams claimed him off of the Minnesota Vikings waiver wire, and he was toggled between the active roster and the practice squad throughout the 2024 season. He's only played 40 defensive snaps for the team and added 3 tackles, 1 quarterback pressure, and a minimal defensive presence. So I don't know. This might just be another camp body from what I'm reading over here. Williams competed for the Rams in, let me get this over here. In 47 games, he started 22 games since 2021. He's been an ever-developing player who's excelled in run defense, has a subtle but not surprising pass rush. While 29 years old, he's been slow to develop NFL player whose 1,224 snaps is more like a third-year player on a rookie contract. He may not be a Pro Bowler, but he does leave it all out on the football field. It just seems like one of those guys. That's a Dan Campbell guy. Lunch pail guy. I like the Quan Alexander. That's a guy who's played in big games. That's a guy who is older, could have something left in a tank, but also could teach stuff to younger linebackers and has shown that he would do that type of thing. So this is PFF Saturday on the Villain Report. I'm your host, Russell Wayne. You can join me Monday through Saturday for the Lion Villain Report every Monday through Saturday at 10 a.m. And this week, we are brought to you by Full Circle Realty. Agent Dana Robinson. If you are buying or selling a home anywhere in the state of Michigan, call Dana today. If you want someone who works for you, if you want someone who will never give up, Dana Robinson should be your realtor. Call Dana today at Full Circle Realty at 810-422-3328. That's 810-422-3328. She can't wait to get working for you. Now, next week, we have a big game, and I know that we got Steve in here. He's in, I don't know if he's in, and we might talk about what you guys have in here. Surprisingly, I don't think that the Bears had any false start. Jeff Daniels, Peyton Manning, I'm calling back to Ford Field. You need to lift the curse of injury now. Hey, I think that we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. Will Ben Johnson end up in Chicago or Aaron Glenn? I think Ben Johnson ends up in KC after Reed retires. Just my opinion. That's a whoo. My opinion on Ben Johnson is he wants to be here. He wants to be here. And he's young. Like, I think that the media thrusts these great minds into the spotlight because obviously you want the next new hot thing. But I think that Ben Johnson realizes that the culture, the trifecta of what we have going on here in Detroit, that there's still a lot that he can learn because it isn't just about X's and O's, and it's about how you interact with your team of people. It matters what type of people you're going to hire to do these things, and are they with the program? They have a good development unit that comes along with good drafting over here on one side, and then Dan Campbell gets these guys and he puts them in with these hands-on coaches that do a phenomenal job. I think our position coaches are the most underrated coaches that are on our team because they're putting it together. But Ben Johnson, no, I think that he's gonna sign a multi-year offensive coordinator gig here. I think that he wants to be here with Goff and these offensive weapons that he's grown up with. He's had most of these guys since their rookie year. Even when he was just like a tight ends coach, I can't remember what he was doing. He was promoted to offensive coordinator. So, no, I don't think that he's going to end up in either one of those spots. I think he'll be a big thing in the offseason again, and he'll ultimately end up staying. Super Bowl or not, Henry Gray said the only thing that matters is we won. We broke the Thanksgiving losing streak. That gets 5 because that's the bottom line. Well, we can either be talking about a hard-fought game that came down and we lost, or we can talk about a game that was tough that we won, and we're here talking about a win. I wasn't worried, and I thought that we were going to OT or BNL. Then I said to myself, don't worry, the Bears will screw it up. Oh, veteran player sounds like a Lion. In Brad, we trust. In Brad, we trust. So, we need forward down. We got requests going on right here. So, if Christopher Walken was here, first of all, he'd say the Lions are the king of the jungle. It's 11-1 is good, and when they score touchdowns, it brings me joy to sing forward down the field, a Lions team that would not yield. And when the blue and silver wave, stand and cheer the brave. Go hard, win the game with honor. You would keep your fame. Down the field and gain a Lions victory. It was good. It was good to watch. It was good for my soul. It was good for my soul. It could be good for your life. There you go. It's Request Saturday. Amen, Henry. Plug those holes. Brad fixing them holes. Glenn will end up in with the Saints. Ben stays put. Yeah, if anybody's going to go and coach the Chicago Bears from that, I think Glenn would be the guy. But I do like Chad's call right here that he would go back to the Saints. You know, that makes sense. That seems like a team that's ripping Band-Aids off and, you know, looking for a start over, you know, something that could be ripped to the studs. That's one, I guess, positive thing about cap hell is, you know, once you're there, it's a 1 year wash now with the new rules, with the caps and everything like that. Oh yeah. Yeah, we got superstars on this show, Elise. We can get Christopher Walken to come here. Right? That you don't think that Ben Johnson wants to be with Patrick Mahomes? Well, if Andy Reid retires, I mean, you're right. That would be the ultimate job. But I do believe that he wants to go to a place where he can have his own quarterback. I know it sounds crazy, but if I'm thinking legacy, I mean, I guess the Patrick Mahomes, that would be crazy to go from Andy Reid's to Ben Johnson. You know, so somebody that could just like walk right into that culture. That's a good call. I like that call. Steve says, in KC and the owners, the Hunts would pay Johnson big money to be their new head coach. He'll get the money. The money is guaranteed. The money is guaranteed. But I think that Ben Johnson appreciates the relationships that he has with, you know, Amon-Ra St. Brown, with Jared Goff, you know, with Penei Sewell, with Frank Ragnow. You know, I think he really appreciates those relationships. You know, he's been here for every year, like Jahmyr Gibbs. You know, you want to see that through. There's part of him on the inside. I know if I'm a human being, You're a human being. And if you're coaching the Detroit Lions and you're building this thing up, I can't not feel that, right? I'm a human being. So I appreciate those relationships if I'm Ben Johnson. And I know that he does. I know that that's running through his mind going, man, Jahmyr Gibbs in his second year, man, I want to be coaching him when he's in his fifth year. I mean, come on. Now, I don't get that vibe from Aaron Glenn. I think Aaron Glenn is, he's trying to work his way up. He's trying to become a head coach and create his legacy stamp in that way right now. And I think that he's going to take the first rung that he likes. And I think Chicago is a good fit for Aaron Glenn. Tough defensive minded guy. He's already got a bunch of studs on defense. Ben Johnson to the Bengals. I mean, I guess it's all possible. I think Ben wants to take over MCDC's spot when he walks away. Now, that would be unprecedented. And that's why I think it might be possible. Because there was something about them Pittsburgh Steelers teams, right? In the 1970s. The greatest thing about that team is that they were a team. They stayed together. That's why they were so, like, the chemistry, especially on the defense. That's what the Lions are getting to experience. And they have done that through a fluid salary cap. And I love bringing this thing up, especially when it comes into the natural flow of conversation, but the salary cap. He's got such a fluid salary cap. You got enough money to play every single year. And then you have credit. Because we've been through some of this stuff before. But this is something that's crazy to me when I bring this up. Steve, you can... it's like this. It's like being able to predict a hurricane, right? This is how I know that the storm is coming through. So the Lions are a Super Bowl contending team right now. I would think that everybody would agree with that. Going through some injury stuff right now, but still 11-1. We're right there. 53-man roster. So for 2025, look at this shit. We have 41 guys that are under contract. And these aren't just like any guys. These are the mainstays, all of our starters. Now, right now, that's 41 rosters. And that means that you have 12 roster spots left for your 53-man roster. $62 million in cap space for that year. Now, I'm assuming, there's a couple guys like Carlton Davis, Kevin Zeitler, that you might want to bring back. There's for the first, Malcolm Rodriguez. There's a bunch of guys that their rookie contracts that are up, that are I consider lower tiered guys that are available on that, but they have plenty of cap space to do that. And I'm assuming that they're going to extend Hutchinson and Kirby Joseph out of this money, which will be low for the first year. And that's 41 players. And now when people were talking about, these draft picks, where are we going to put them? If they just re-sign, 4 of their own players, and extend a couple guys, they're already going to be at 45 roster spots. So that's something that's in my mind right there. And even in 2026, just by the way the contracts are thrown out there, they still have 32 guys signed in 2026. Like this is sustainable. You only got 21 million, but here's where I call 2026 for the Lions is what I like to call the mortgage year. The mortgage is going to be up, right? Because I'll show you why. $69 million cap number for Jared Goff. $16 million for Frank Ragnow in 2026. $21 million for Decker. $28 million for Sewell. $28 million for Aline. You catching my drift right here? Even 8 for David Montgomery. $33 million for Amon-Ra St. Brown. And in this year, you're going to want to think about extending, some of the draft, last year's draft class. So, but what that is when you extend people or restructure their contracts, you can lower these numbers, the base salary numbers, down. So basically, these high cap numbers, that's okay, but you have $55 million worth of equity, right? Like refinancing your house. You got 11 million here, you got 14 million here, because these are all the base salaries. When you extend players, you can convert this number, all the way down to $1 million. You can convert it. All that, look at that. 23 million for Aline, 27 million for Amon-Ra. So there's that's where you can take a loan out if you needed it, right? You still got $22 million, $21 million worth of cap space, but one of these guys you're going to want to extend. You want to keep around Aline McNeil even longer, Penei Sewell. You can take loans out on these guys. And you might not need to do it all. You might be able to keep fluid salary cap because obviously you're going to be drafting players too. And here's another thing to keep in mind is like these players like a Malcolm Rodriguez and Levi Onwuzurike. So some of these guys you're not going to be able to sign all these guys. Right? When we get into next year, I would think that Aiden Hutchinson and Kirby Joseph are going to be really high priorities to get done. But you still have Ifeatu Melifonwu due. You got Derek Barnes due. You got Malcolm Rodriguez due. I don't know if Malcolm Rodriguez. Yeah, that was the first year, I think. Or maybe that was the second year. Maybe Malcolm Rodriguez has one more year. But you got some of these other players that are due. But you're welcome, man. But you know what? I touch on the cap stuff a lot because it's so impressive to me the way that Brad Holmes has managed this cap. It's like we want him to go out there. I'm guilty of it. I wanted Myles Garrett. I didn't give a shit. Go, Brad. Go get 30. Go spend 3 first-round picks. I don't care. Because the thing is like if you could get a player like Myles Garrett, it's like you can't find those guys. Like you could have 20 first-round draft picks and not find a Myles Garrett. There's certain players that you don't even think about it. Oh, he's available. What is it going to take? There are players that are like that. Herschel Walker. Like you don't want to. Sometimes that stuff works out. Sometimes it doesn't. And I think that the Lions trade of Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford is going to go down as one of the best trades ever. Ever. I mean, talk about it working, right? Talk about it working. Like, I'm not a Stafford fan. I'm one of those people that I'm anti-Stafford. I'm a Stafford hater, whatever. But I'm just a fan of my team. Right. But this trade has already worked out as the best trade of all time. in my opinion. But you're talking about altering two franchises. And I mean, from the Rams side, it just brought them a Super Bowl, but that's altering. That's altering your franchise. Super Bowls. I mean, those are, we need one. We need to get one. But the Lions already won their side of the trade too, because it wasn't trading a quarterback for a quarterback and then Super Bowl versus Super Bowl. It was, I'm going to give you my quarterback so you can go win a Super Bowl right now, in exchange for turning the franchise around, like getting out of a really bad, mucky, muddy part of our history. And it's already done that. And I've given you the proof, because this is sustainable. Like what I'm trying to tell you right now, that the stuff that you're seeing right now, it's going to get even worse for everybody. Because here's 41 players that will most likely make the roster. I'm sure that there's a couple of them that are just lower end people, but most of these players, I mean, look at that: Jared Goff, Ragnow, Decker, Hutchinson, Sewell, Anzalone, McNeil, Reeder, all these guys are starting guys. Gibbs, Fox, Campbell, Raymond, Amik, Reeves, Maben, all of these guys are signed multiple years. And I don't know if people really realize how important that is. It's like, we went through this conversation before when I had Steve on here, where I'm like, I love Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs is you better watch out for Josh Jacobs. And it's like, Josh Jacobs doesn't scare me. Progression scares me. Like, if a team that I'm feeling is going to come in and beat this Lions team, it's based off of progression. The fact that Lions have 41 players coming back next year that have been through a training camp, already know how the competition works. We don't got to show them where the locker room is. Don't got to show them where the cafeteria is. We don't have to show them the basic roots of the plays. No, 41 players for the Lions in 2025 are going to walk right in, and they're going to be getting their senior education. You ain't going to have to learn the basics. You ain't going to have to learn the rudiments. You're going to have to learn how we practice. When everything is, 41 players are going to be like a well-oiled machine. And this juggernaut that you're seeing right now is going to be even better next year, just with the way that they go about their practicing. They won't get complacent because it's not built into the DNA. I have nothing to do with that. I'm not just spouting out shit. But they have built a culture that is this constant improvement thing. And it's almost as if their competitions with themselves might be, in their minds, just as important as going out and executing the game. Now, obviously, you want to execute the game, and win the game. But by the time they get to the game, they've been through such fierce competition with themselves that these teams ain't shit. And they built that in there. And they'll have 41 guys. Harpozo says that Brad Holmes is wheeling and dealing. He has to. Brad needs to get a janitor to play edge. Good morning, Russ. I like that comment. But they're going out there and they're getting the right guys with the right mentality that will go in and practice and be a part of this defense. Because when we're looking at PFF grades right here, and like I said, disclaimer, PFF is not the end all be all. But I like to see, in total defense right here, you got Muhammad, a guy that was on our practice squad. They brought him up from the practice squad, plays 43 snaps. So it's not like just some guy that came in off the bench. 43 snaps, graded out at a 73.2. Those are the type of thing that let me know. That lets me know that we know how to develop players. Chad says it's the best trade ever. Ever. Name me another trade that's worked out as good as that one has. I mean, Super Bowl or not, it's already the greatest trade ever. If Jared Goff gets a Super Bowl, holy crap. At that point, if the Lions get a Super Bowl, I would say that the Lions won the trade. Because the Lions were able to build sustainability through the trade. Like I said, I just showed you the fluid salary cap right there, because we have the credit because of the way that my bad, I'm getting my lighter. Because of the way that we structured these first contracts, the very first deals, it was so important when we did these first deals. Jared Goff, Penei Sewell, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. The way that they structured those contracts made it to where it didn't cost us much for the first 2 years. Now, when we get into the second year, Taylor Deckers goes way up. He's the first one that goes way up. But here you got Jared Goff again, reasonable. It's like the way that he has these contracts staggered, to me, is just amazing. I dig it. And then when we get into that third year, this is what I call the mortgage year. We don't know what players we're going to need. We don't know which players. We may not need hardly any money. You know, if you only need $20 million, well, then you can take a lien and you can add another year on his contract and convert 23 million to signing bonus and lower the cap number down to $5 million. That's just one player, but you can do that with Sewell, Decker, Ragnow, Goff, or Amon-Ra St. Brown. So that's like, yeah, we only got 20. Oh, what are you going to do in 2026? We get to 2026. We're going to extend one of our good players, and we're going to bring in whoever the F we want. Somebody that wants to win a Super Bowl. That's what's going to happen in 2026. The Lions are a Super Bowl contender right now. With that roster, they're bringing back 41 players. Without a draft, that's without drafting one player. You bring back Carlton Davis and you bring back Kevin Zeitler for one more year. That's 43 players. So you got 10 roster spots left to fill the back of your roster. Yeah, it's pretty amazing when you think about that. So there'll be a Super Bowl contender next year too. And then when 2026 comes around, we'll figure out which guys need to be here, which ones are going to be the extended ones. But don't expect the Lions to go out into free agency and try to nab some of any of these big names. We're going to extend our own players, I believe. I believe it's about keeping the crew, keeping the band together. You want to keep as many of them as you can. And it's like, and I wanted to show you something too, just to put it into perspective. That way you don't talk about the wrong guys at the wrong time. In 2026, I want you guys to understand, like, if you're bringing up like Jahmyr Gibbs or Laporta or Branch or somebody like that, in 2026 is the year that you're going to be you're going to be dealing with that in 2026. Those are the contract years for those players. And you can exercise a 5th-year option for a Jahmyr Gibbs too. That's what happens in 2026. But you don't have to worry about Jahmyr Gibbs or Brian Branch or any of those second-year players next year. In 2026, you can make some moves. And I think it's going to be more about what Chad says right here: draft, develop, and then keep your own. I've went a lot over today, but I don't mind. We got a good football conversation. I love my Saturday show. And Lions getting a win, and then you got Michigan playing Ohio State today. Keeping the 2 Live crew. That's the most important. The thing is like I fear Josh Jacobs of 2025 more than this Josh Jacobs, because of progression. Progression always means something more, It's like Jahmyr Gibbs is breaking out right now. That's all great, but he's about 2 years away from reaching his prime. I think that his best years are going to be, probably 2025 and 2026 when you really think about that. And I think that Gibbs is going to get top dollar, though. But here's the thing: Jahmyr Gibbs, we can sign him through 2027, full control. You got the 5th-year option. Everybody thinks that we were stupid. Oh, I can't believe you drafted a running back in the 1st round. Nobody does that. Unless the running back's awesome, and then you want to keep him on a 5th-year option for 2027. That's the bad thing about the running backs. It's like, I love Gibbs too, but right after that 5th, 6th year, yeah, I mean, you're talking about the wheels falling off. But I mean, maybe they buck the trend. You bring in that guy. You extend Gibby out. And that's okay for them to demand a top dollar. You want to try to keep as many of these people as you can. But we're going to lose because we're going to keep the mainstay people. We're going to lose Rodriguez probably. I love Malcolm Rodriguez. I love Levi Onwuzurike. I love you, Josh Pascal. But we're not keeping everybody. They play the compensatory the compensatory pick game. That's a part of Brad's game that he's setting up, and they're going to come in droves. You watch. You watch these compensatory picks now because we don't have the room on our roster. Sure, Malcolm Rodriguez is going to go somewhere and make $10 million a year. It ain't going to be here. We're going to lose a guy like Alex Anzalone. We got Alex Anzalone signed through next year. And I think a lot of these are just going to go away. They're the next man up. And we're drafting and developing. Oh, what are you going to draft Broderick Martin in the 3rd round? Because they foresaw Aleem McNeil and the fact that they're bringing in a DJ Reader. By the time those contracts are done, I love you, DJ Reader, but you're going to play your contract and you're going to be done probably. DJ Reader's not one. You might extend him by a year. So he's here this year and next year. Maybe one more year after that. But they have the next guy in the oven. Broderick Martin is that guy. I have no doubt in my mind. You know why? Because every single guy that they bring in, that they've drafted, has contributed. Now, I know that they didn't keep James Houston, but he went somewhere else and he's playing. Minus a couple of players that Brad Holmes has drafted over the last 4 drafts. They're all here. They're all contributing. And some of them are contributing at an amazing level. I mean, Aleem McNeil was a 3rd-round pick, and you got a guy that's playing in the top 10 at his position. Penei Sewell. He might be the best player in football. Jahmyr Gibbs, top 3 at his position. Draft picks. Jack Campbell, even. He's been playing like a top 10 linebacker. I've been watching it all year through the PFF. Jack Campbell's like sneaky good. Brian Branch, top 3 at his position. Top 4, top 5. Am I being a homer? So that's good for the future and now, So as a Lion fan, I mean, maybe Steve's used to this type of stuff because when you draft and develop teams all the time, you're always just pretty confident that your team's going to be good. But be there. You're there, Lions. You're there, Lions fans. Ain't going nowhere. Nobody's going to take that away. I don't think that we have to, think about this huge regression thing that we've always feared in the past. When Matt Stafford was here, I mean, people were like, oh, they never put anything around him. They couldn't. That's when the front office wasn't the best in the world. You didn't have any way to make your team better. And they tried. They went out inside and, they had TJ Lang and they were trying to protect Stafford. They got him Golden Tate. I mean, there's only so much you can do. They didn't have the cap flexibility. They had 3 max contracts from the old school. 2 of them were old school contracts. No, actually, all 3 of them were. Sue, Stafford, and Calvin Johnson, even with their extensions, they were juiced into that old school contract where the number 1 draft picks were getting paid more than established guys before the rookie scale. And you can't maneuver like that. As good as Stafford was, they couldn't get the team good enough around him. They couldn't get the depth good enough. There just wasn't enough money. It wasn't really anybody's fault other than just, being really a victim of the old set of rules. This is actually the first regime that we've ever had that can operate with the new set of rules without any of those crazy cap constraints. There is no Stafford contract anymore. There's no Sue. There's no crap contracts. They got to rip it apart from the studs. It doesn't make for a very good first year to your story in 2021, operating, $60 million in dead cap, but you ripped it apart at the studs. And now you've built it. If you build it, they will come. Yes, they will. They'll come out in droves. They'll come out in droves because Detroit has been starving for a winner in football. More than any other franchise, we are starving. More than those players are sitting right there. We're starving for a championship. We have been faithful. Even during the worst parts, the Lions are still up there at the highest in ticket sales. The only dip was 2009, but after 0-16, yeah, people didn't come out as much in 2009, but they still sold over 380,000 tickets off of the worst. We want a winner. We're diehard football fans. You're not going to find better football fans. You know? And the thing is if you give a fan base like this nice things, we're going to reward you. We're going to reward you by being the road assassins. We're the road assassins. We take all of our fans, we pack up our bags, and we go to the road game, and then we take it over. We go to affect the game. We caused a false start when we went there, and we were there in Indy, making a mess up. You got to like that. We got a big showdown this week. Thursday night football. The 9-3 Green Bay Packers coming to Ford Field to try to slay the Giant. They're trying to keep it together. Oh, you don't want to hear me if we sweep you. I predicted that the Lions would split with the Packers, and I'm not going to bet against the Lions. Not at this point in time. I think they're going to beat them again, and they're going to sweep these Packers now, even though I predicted it. But you don't want to hear me, Steve. If you come in and if we get that sweep, the best that you can do is even the series. In which I would say, game well played. At that. But yes, T-Bone, it's all about the draft. That's why Brad loves his draft picks. That's where the whole thing is built. You know, everybody else is Band-Aids. You know, any of the free agents, you see the free agents, they don't make any long-term commitments. They have not made one long-term commitment to any player until they're here 1 year. You get a 2-year deal. It's usually a 1-year deal that has a very nice option for 2. Said Brad took over with $65 million in dead cap space. Well, he made some of that cap space happen. You know, some of that's kind of built in, though, Chad, in the Stafford contract. We had to pay for the Stafford contract. They paid for the Goff contract. So that $65 million might be a little bit of an overblow because you kind of had 2 people, you know, trade responsibilities, you know, and that was like, what, 20, 30 million of it. But I remember Brad cut Jamie Collins mid-season at a loss. And then you kind of just knew that that's what they're doing. It's like, you got to build this thing because you don't want to hit that. The quicker you do that thing, the quicker you're getting hit. You're getting hit with all that dead right off the bat. It's like, well, screw it. Well, screw it. And I think it was a good move to do that because they got to come into the 2022 season and, you know, make some moves to make the team better. 12-1 came Thursday. Yeah, that's cool. What do you think about bringing Davenport back? I don't know. You could or you couldn't. It doesn't matter to me. Like, to me, it would be a nothing move because he got injured, it wouldn't cost any more than a bag of Fritos and a pop. So I think it's going to be hard for him to make the roster. I think that we're keeping behind, like I showed you, 41 guys. There isn't going to be a ton of roster space. You know, some of these guys are on injured reserve, and I don't know if they would even count on the that roster. So they may even have a couple more players. So I like our players. I mean, within strings, you know, you even like some of the backup players that come in there. John says, I'm 68 and a lifelong Lions fans. Yeah, the Lion fans are great. I mean, anybody that would deny that doesn't know Lion fans. It's like, I don't know. I went to a games at Ford Field during losing seasons. People just like going to the game. You know, we cheer first downs when our team was bad. But, you know, some of these teams, it's like, that's what I say is like the Chargers don't have any real fans. I mean, you can tell because, you know, during the no seasons, the seasons where they're not doing good, they all disappear. They're not really that hardcore. It's something fun to do when the team's doing good. That's the way I think that they look at it. You know, where Lion fans will, I don't know. I feel like Lion fans tie their whole week's emotion to the game, like their whole mood of the week can be determined by that football game. Now, I just don't think that there's some fan bases that don't have any of it. You know, Packer fans are real passionate. I mean, there's nothing to do in Green Bay, so if the Packers lose, I mean, it's like watching one of your kids get hurt. But Lion fans are the same way. They're passionate like that. Bear fans are like that, you know. Viking fans are like that. I think the NFC North fans are passionate. So passionate. So much belief in their team. And why not? It's a good time to be a fan of really any team in the NFC North. It's the best division in football. I mean, I'm sure that there's some Lion fans that would say, hey, man, I wish the rest of these guys would just suck. Good morning to you, Dwayne. Yeah. I think that's what they didn't have good ownership, you know. You know, there's a lot of anti-Lion fans that are in this because they got a bad taste in their mouth. They weren't treating their players right. Until they got Sheila in here and then she brought in the ownership group and Chris Spielman. This franchise had no chance. But under the leadership of Chris Spielman and the group of people that they brought in, the football minds, they had a whole bunch of them that were in there. But they found a head coach. They found a general manager. And now they're doing things the right way. Started it all the way over. Maybe they got lucky on a couple draft picks. Now that you know who Penei Sewell is, that guy should have been the first or second player taken in the draft, and you know it. He got lucky that he fell all the way there in his first year. We got generational talent at 7. That's luck. A little bit luck. You know, being at the right place at the right time. But we have the best division in football. But we're still the best team. That's a good feeling. Because not only do we have the best division in football, I think that these are the best teams in the NFC. Lions, Packers, Vikings. And then the Eagles. Now I got to get the Eagles. The Eagles, Lions, Packers, Vikings, Eagles. There you go. There's the class of the NFC. Even though Tampa Bay beat us, they won't beat us again. We don't lose back-to-back teams, so I ain't worried about Tampa Bay. You know, I am worried about all three of these NFC North teams the second go-round. I know the division games don't sit well. I know that all the Packer fans and all the other fans in the NFC North, they want to talk their trash. They want to talk their trash about the villain. Well, that's the definition of the villain, right? The villain isn't a bad guy. We didn't create the villain squad to make it like, oh, we're the bad guys. We're not bad people. It's just sometimes you're misunderstood. And becoming the villain it's a beautiful transformation, because here the attributes of the villain are the fact that you keep beating teams and they don't like you. You know who we're the villain to? We're the villain every team that we beat by double digits. We're the villain to all three of these NFC North teams that can't get a W against this team. You're good, but we're better. The Packers team is cute, but we're an actual contender. The Bears fans are just, I mean, it just sucks to be Bear fan. I think the Lions find a way to win. It's built in their DNA. They got the clutch gene. I believe my team will be there in the moment that they need to be there. We have more better players that play well in those big moments, because big players, big time players make big plays in big moments. This is the Lion Villain Report PFF Saturday, brought to you by Full Circle Realty. Agent Dana Robinson. If you're buying or selling a home anywhere in the state of Michigan, call Dana today. If you want someone who works for you, if you want someone who will never give up, Dana Robinson should be your realtor. Call Dana today at Full Circle Realty at 810-422. That is 810-422-3328. That's 810-422-3328. She can't wait to get working for you. Lion Villain Report. You can join me every Monday through Saturday at 10 a.m. talking Lions football. Broadcasting live onto the Lions Villain Squad Facebook page. Yes. And that's the Lion Villain Report and the Main Event Football Show. Approaching 60,000 followers. Thank you to the people that are following the page. Hit that like button. Why have billions when you can have thousands? We are the undrafted free agent of sports podcasting. That's the Tom Kennedy, baby. Liking, sharing, and commenting is a free way that you can help this page. And we appreciate the ones that do that. Thank you. Thank you to Joe Chat and the Detroit Lions News Podcast, Joe Chapp's Twitter, KC Sports Network on YouTube. Thank you to the Lions Villain Squad YouTube page. Thank you to the people that subscribe to that page. If you want to partner with the Villain Squad, be guilty by association, call Main Event Mike at 810-620-2167 if you own a business in Michigan and love the Detroit Lions and want to be guilty by association. We would love to partner with you. It's faith, family, and then football. We use football to spend time with our family. We don't let football use us. We use football to create memories. We don't let football use us. I'm going to take off. Thank you, everybody, for popping on today. And may the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord shine his face upon you until we meet again in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you, everybody, for hopping on here today. I will talk to you guys on Monday. God bless you. Talk to you soon.
Hey yo, the lies told that you never make it. Hopeless, so it seems. Eyes closed, hands open wide to embrace your dreams. Sometimes you gotta take a loss just to get the win. Like lots of sin was popping in like oxygen when boxes wet. Focus on the mental, never lose like a smooth instrumental. Better choose on the move in a pinto. Choose what I get to, never lose smooth on the move, but it's simple. Never give up and we running it, maybe. We just keep winning, we conquering daily. Envision and pay me, it's never the sway me. Indigenous, maybe we winning, it's crazy. Your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity. This your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity. This your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity. This your opportunity.